They say fate has a strange sense of humor. It brings the most unexpected people together at the most unexpected times. For Victoria Langford, that truth arrived on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. With smoke pouring out of her luxury car's hood on the side of a dusty road, Victoria was the only daughter of Richard Langford, one of the most powerful auto tycoons in the country. Her life was polished, controlled, and perfectly designed, just like the cars her family sold. She wore wealth like armor and arrogance like perfume. Nothing ever went wrong for her until that engine gave up. She cursed, slammed her designer bag on the seat, and stepped out in her heels, waving at passing cars. None stopped. And that's when she saw a small garage across the road, Darnell's Auto Repairs. Inside, a man in a grease-stained shirt was working silently on an old pickup truck. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with steady hands and eyes that didn't flinch. He looked like someone who'd been through too much and still refused to break. Victoria stormed in. "My car broke down," she snapped. "I need it fixed fast." Darnell barely looked up. "Keys?" he said that. She hesitated, annoyed at his tone. "Do you even know who I am?" He finally turned to face her. "No," he said calmly, "but I know your car is not going to fix itself." That was the first time in her life someone had looked her in the eye and not cared who she was. It annoyed her, but something about his confidence made her curious. He towed her car, opened the hood, and got to work. No small talk, no fake politeness, just focus. After an hour, he handed her the keys. "All done," he said. "That'll be $200, Victoria blinked. "Do you know how expensive this car is?" He smiled faintly. "Ma'am, engines don't care how rich you are. They just need the right hands." That line stuck with her. Days later, she returned, claiming the car was acting up again. But the truth was, she just wanted to see him. And so began an unspoken routine. Every few days, she'd find an excuse to visit his garage. He always treated her the same way. No special treatment, no admiration, no fear. Just honesty. Over time, Victoria learned that Darnell had built his life from scratch. He grew up in a broken neighborhood, raised by a mother who worked 2 jobs. He learned to fix cars as a teenager, not for fun, but to survive. When his mother passed, he turned her small house into that garage. He wasn't rich, but he was proud. He wasn't educated like her, but he was wise. Victoria started questioning everything she'd been taught. The fancy parties, the cold business meetings, the hollow laughter, none of it felt real anymore. What felt real was the smell of oil, the sound of Darnell's tools, and the warmth in his quiet presence. One night, as rain poured again, she found herself back at the garage. Darnell was working late. His shirt was soaked, his hands black with grease. She stood silently, watching him. "Why do you keep coming here, Victoria?" he asked without looking up. She hesitated, then whispered, "Because it's the only place I feel like myself." He looked at her for a long moment, then smiled. "Then don't lose that." From that moment, something shifted. They started spending time together outside the garage. Late-night coffee, long drives, quiet talks. For the first time, Victoria wasn't the heiress. She was just a woman learning what love felt like, but good things rarely stay secret. Her father found out. Richard Langford was furious. "You're seeing a mechanic. Do you have any idea how this looks for our family?" Victoria tried to reason, but he wouldn't listen. He threatened to cut her off, to destroy Darnell's business, even have him blacklisted from every supplier in town. She stood her ground. "If you do that, you'll lose me too." He thought she was bluffing, but she wasn't. She left the mansion that night with nothing but her car and her pride. She moved into a small apartment and started helping Darnell at the garage. The media had a field day. Tycoon's daughter chooses mechanic over millions. People laughed. Her friends abandoned her. But Victoria didn't care. For the first time, she felt free. Darnell worked harder than ever. He expanded the garage, hired more people, and started designing custom engines. Word spread about his skill, his honesty, and his story. Within 2 years, Darnell's Auto Repairs turned into Langford Mechanics Group, a partnership built not by money, but by love and resilience. Then came the twist. Richard's empire began to crumble. His company faced lawsuits, debts, and public backlash. He had no one left to turn to, except the man he once tried to destroy. Darnell could have walked away, but instead he extended a hand. "You taught your daughter how to build empires," he said. "Now let me show you how to rebuild one." Together, they launched a new line of eco-friendly engines under Darnell's name, and within a year, it became one of the most profitable ventures in the industry. At the launch event, Richard shook Darnell's hand in front of the press. For the first time, he smiled with genuine respect that night. As the crowd cheered and cameras flashed, Victoria stood beside Darnell, tears in her eyes. She whispered, "You fix more than engines, Darnell. You fix me." He smiled. "Nah, you just needed to remember who you were." And as the lights dimmed and the applause echoed through the hall, one thing was clear: love isn't about where you come from. It's about who's willing to stay when everything else falls apart.